Next, we want to get our eyes in position. There's a lot of controversy about where to put the eyes. There's a lot of scriptural references which will tell you, and you can quote scripture and say, they're saying you put your eyes at the tip of your nose, put your eyes in between the eyebrows, or in the third eye, or in other areas of the body. We should use not only the Buddhist reference of the Pali Canon, but also in Bhagavad Gita, where specifically in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 13, Sri Krishna speaks specifically about what to do with the eyes. This whole chapter 6 of the Gita is the yoga of meditation. And the word that he uses to say the position of the eyes should be at Nasik Agram, Naasik Agram. It's there in this 13th chapter, 13th verse of chapter 6. Nasik means nose. The word in Sanskrit, Nasik, means nose. Agram is only meaning, the correct translation is the topmost part of the nose. Some Sanskrit scholars have misinterpreted to say the tip of the nose. Really means the topmost or beginning part of the nose. So, because we can see the correlation, later Sri Krishna is talking about, and the Buddha canon also talks about the word paramukh. The Buddha used that word, which means, it can mean before the face, or actually at the beginning of right there. So, it's between the eyebrows. This is really important because remember, in meditation we're trying to focus on expanded awareness and relaxation. So, it's as if you're sitting straight and you're slightly putting the whole head down. You look as if you're looking at a far distant object, which means the eyes just turn up slightly to just between the eyebrows. Now, this is not the third eye, which sometimes it's said is right there in the middle of the forehead. We're not doing that because the idea is, if you're with your eyes closed, of course, if you're pointing your eyes up, it's a strain. It causes stress. You want to avoid it. So your head slightly brought down, your eyes just slightly up, just right there between the eyebrows. And you can see this is a relaxed state, and your eyes should be closed. So, with the eyes closed and in this position, now the body is in the correct position. What to do with the hands? There's no reference at all in the Bhagavad Gita as to the necessity of mudra, or position of the hands. No mention at all. There are other Puranic instructions which say you hold this because, you know, this finger means life, this means spirit, and you hold them and join. Some even practices say you join the 3 fingers, and this causes the mind to slow down. The Buddha said, you know, you actually put your hands there in your lap, right over left. The idea is those are recommended, but if you find that uncomfortable in any degree, then if you want, you can relax your hands right on your thighs. If you want to, you can put them here. It's important to have them relaxed. So whatever works, really whatever works. And so now we have our hands in whatever comfortable position. We have if we're sitting cross-legged, fine. If it's recommended, if you can sit with your right leg over the left. Again, these things verge on superstition, to be honest. Because the main thing is, you want to have your body in a position where it's not going to bother you or disturb you when you start to move into the actual higher realms of consciousness through the vehicle of breath and mantra. So, now we're set. Now we want to get our mind in position. What we want to do is now just start watching the movement of the breath. Now it says when you watch your breath, when, again, the Buddha quoting respiration awareness, we're not paying attention to the inhalation and the exhalation and the direction of the, saying we're aware of the air moving in, we're aware of the air moving out. That's not what we're doing. We're just aware of movement. Now this movement, we can notice it anywhere in 3 major places. If you close your eyes and you start watching your breath and you want to be aware of the actual movement of the breath, focus on where you feel it. For some people, they feel it inside the nostrils. If it happens to be that you can actually feel and your attention goes to the rising and falling of the abdomen, and that is where you focus on the actual movement, breath is making the body move, or the expansion and contraction of the chest, you can experiment and see which of those three areas is least stressful for you to stay focused at that spot. So let's try it. You close your eyes, you sit comfortably, and slightly move your chin down, and then have your eyes gaze just slightly between the eyebrows. Now you begin watching the movement of the breath. Now, what will happen to all is your attention becomes distracted by thoughts, some by some discomfort in the body, usually by multifarious thoughts. What we're doing in meditation is trying to be fully absorbed and focused from many thoughts to one thought. We're not trying to empty the mind. We're trying to focus the mind on one thought. Now this thought is awareness and thinking about and observing the movement of the breath. Now why does this work so well? Because as has been said by so many great ones, the mind is like Aries. It is the nature of air. Its nature is to move. Just like blood needs to circulate, if circulation stops, you die. The mind, which is really not an organ, but it is this consciousness which has been conditioned into all of these multifarious thoughts. And you might say the ego, or that kind of lower aspect of the mind, it definitely has a will to live. And its life depends on movement, thoughts. It's been described in the scriptures as like a monkey running from one tree to the next. When you try to grab hold of it and say, stay still, it fights back and starts to bite you. So we want to allow the mind movement so it won't revolt and disturb our attempt to become absorbed and expanded. So instead of letting the mind move from one thought to the next, we're letting the mind focus on the movement of the breath. This satisfies its need, its life urge to move. In a sense, you might say we're tricking the mind because we're letting it move, but only in this one area of movement of breath. And it just happens to be all the saints and sages in the major religions say this is a special gift given by God, a special gift given by that which is divine, that this is the ladder of divine ascent. By we can watch it, and all of the multifarious, you might say, distractions will start to slow down at the same time through the vehicle of the breath, and if we're using mantra, it will expand into a divine awareness or illumination. So, as the Buddha said, watching the breath, the mind becomes calm. So, now, try to just focus on the fact that many thoughts are coming. You just pull your attention back to the movement of the breath. Again, find a place in the body where you can stay very naturally with the movement of the breath. And if it changes, if you're aware of the breath moving in the nostrils, notice it. Now, you sit and you do this. And as the mind becomes calm, the distractions will become less and less aware. And then your attention, let's say the focus of your consciousness, will start to move in various places around the body. You can let this happen as long as you're still aware of movement of breath.